Hey everybody, and welcome to Nuffle'splaybook. My name's Tyler, and today we're going to try and steal a page out of the God's Playbook themselves and see if we can't figure out how to crowd surf, when to do it, how to do it, and ways to punish your opponent with it. Check it out. So what is crowd surfing? Crowd surfing is when you push somebody off the field, off the pitch altogether. You can only do that if every square that they would be pushed to is occupied, or is the sideline. So I've got the three examples here of the three different simple ways. We'll go over these in more detail in just a second. But basically, if you were to come in and push this guy here, then all three of the squares that he has options to push to are completely full, or in this case, they're the sideline. So he can be pushed out. This is a straight push. Down here in our blue option, if you come in from a diagonal area, you could push him, and because this square right here is not occupied, you would have to push him there. But if you bring in one of your guys and you fill that space, or the space is already full, then you can push him out to either of these squares instead. The third result, you'd have to come down from here, and if you throw a block, you can't just push him out to the sideline because he's got two options here or here, but if you fill both of those squares with guys, then you have the option to push him out. Alright, but why crowd surf in the first place? What's the big deal? The answer to that is simply you are 6 times more likely to get a KO or an injury if you push somebody out than just from a normal block, at least against an armor value of 10. Since the most benefit is brought from pushing them, that's what we're going to look at. You can see here that your chances of breaking armor value 10 is 16%, and therefore your injury is only down to a 6%. So in order to get a removal, it's only a 6% chance to get them off the field. But if you surf them, there's a 100% chance that they are off the field the rest of the drive. And there's a 40% chance that they'll be off the field for future drives after that. That is 6 times more likely than just a normal block thrown. So I might take my whole turn and use everybody I can to push one important player off the field because it's a guaranteed thing. How many games have you had where you threw 30 blocks and never broke a dwarf's armor? Damn dwarves! Crowd surfing is amazing, and even if you're trying to get the SPP, it's better to push them out and then focus on the people that are still left on the pitch, get that numerical advantage. Let's check out how to do that. First up, we got the straight push. This is pretty straightforward. It's you got a guy on the sideline here, and you need to just take a block and push him out. You either bring in a guy from below here or whatever you like to get your 2-die block. You always want to be taking 2-die blocks if you can, obviously. So then you bring in your guy here. This is your little blitz. You'll come in here and you'll throw a block. You take anything push or better in order to push him out. He'll go here, here, or here. And there's your crowd surf. But there's a better option if you don't want to use your blitz. In a scenario where you already have someone diagonally next to somebody on the sideline, then you don't need to use your blitz at all. You can throw in your blitz if you don't have it in this example, but I'll show you how to do it without it. You take your guy up here and you travel around the tackle zone and you end up in this square. Let's go ahead and do that here. We'll grab this guy here and he'll move on over into this area. Now you've got your nice little triangle space here, or rather L space here, and then you can take your 2-die block here and push that guy out. He can either go this direction, or this direction. Because you have your wall, he gets pushed out. Pretty nice. Next up, you got the side push plus 2 walls. Again, I'm going to show you the scenario without a blitz, but if you don't have somebody lined up in order to do this, then just bring somebody in as your blitzer and make it easy. So what you're going to do is you're going to take these guys around and get in a spot. He also could get closer, but you can go here and go to this spot here. All right, so you got your 2 guys. I'm going to go ahead and move these gents over to show you. So there's one guy goes here, and one guy goes here. Now you've got your walls set up. See, if we pop in here, this guy's good to go. So when you take a 2-die block here, block him, you can go out or push into your other gents. And that's really nice. All right, in the first scenario, your opponent probably made a mistake at putting a guy on the sideline, or they needed to do it for a tactical reason and they're risking it. It's a lot easier to push somebody out when they're right next to it. But how do you push it when they're 1 square away? Let's talk about the straight push here. In this scenario, you have two guys that are right next to him, but if you only had one, you could make this work if you use your blitz. The way to do that is you first take your first block. If this guy go here, take your 2-die block, and instead of pushing him straight here and then having this guy take a block at an angle, you want to push him next to your friend that's closer to the sideline, down this direction here, right? Then that means that when this X guy is down here, this guy number 2, you're going to want to follow up. This guy number 2 can then take his 2-die block here and push him out. All right, but what if that little square next to your guy, your pivot point, is full by maybe a down player or even an enemy down player? Makes it a little harder in order to push them to the sideline to do a straight push. Well, we can do a 1 square away diagonal plus a wall, just like we talked about before. So you take your blitz, you can come in here, and you can hit this guy 1 square, and then you hit him if you push him to here, and then he can totally bounce out and head elsewhere. Do whatever you need for the rest of the play. Then we're going to move this little X square guy here, so that moves him to here, right after that first block. Then you can come in here, and now you've got your diagonal 1 square. Maybe this guy wasn't there to begin with, and you might have had to fall him back or bring him into this space. That's okay, because now you can take an easy block here and push that guy out, because his only 3 squares of choice are all occupied, like we talked about before. Bob's your uncle. Next up, you've got 1 square away, side push plus 2 walls. Still going to take you 3 guys to do it, and this sort of assumes that you have 1 guy already on the sideline there or something. Now, maybe you have a down player here, or the enemy is a down player, or the square is filled for a reason. You could also fill it with one of your own guys. Totally up to you. In this scenario, you're going to take your blitz, bring this guy in here, and hit him just like we did before. We're going to move that red X on over next to the sideline. Then you are going to take this gentleman up here. You're going to come around and plop in here so you can fill it all up. And that is going to look like this. See in a formation here? Now we've got our T formation we talked about before. So there, right here, boom. Now you've got this guy still available here. He can take the 2-die block in order to push this guy up and push him out this direction. It's really just about using your blitz to push that guy next to your pivot point. In all 3 examples, we do need 1 person that they're pivoting around. So in this scenario, there's 1 guy here. In this scenario, there's 1 guy here. And in this scenario, you're talking about this guy here in order to pivot around, him to go here, and that block to happen. So if you don't have the pivot point from 1 square away, you're going to need something like Frenzy or a second blitz in order to be able to push them further there. You could also chain push somebody into it, but that'll be a later video that we talk about. Speaking of Frenzy, how do we do any of these with a Frenzy guy? Well, it's pretty much the same thing, only you get to do 2 blocks with 1 guy rather than needing a pivot point. This does allow you to do it with just a blitz and not have a pivot point altogether, which is really awesome and why I love playing Corn. But I'll show you just the 3 examples even still. So in this scenario, you've got your 1 guy and you come in here and you take your first block here, you push the guy back into the second square, to the sideline, you follow up, you take another block, and you push him out. Easy peasy. If you need an assist in that, you just bring 1 guy around in order to hang out there or wherever, but just make sure that they are going to be in position for both blocks, both the first and the second one, in order for this to work. Frenzy is a whole topic in of itself, and I'm going to be releasing a video on that I'll link down in the doobly-doob after this. But I want to show you some really fun things you can do with Frenzy in order to push people off the line of scrimmage right away. This is still a crowd surf, and Andy Davo is very good at doing this if you've ever watched any of his videos. I'll try and link one down below as well. So here you are, you have 5 squares away on the line of scrimmage. Somebody sets up their guys on the edges, they really want to spread you out or anything like that, and this guy has Frenzy, and this guy has Frenzy, and this guy down here does not need to have Frenzy in order for this to work. So in this, you take up here and you block him, and then you push this guy to here. Then you follow, it's Frenzy, of course you have to, and you block him again, and this time you push him down to here. Now Mr. Blue is hanging out up here, and he's done. and your Mr. X is down here in this square. Okay, then you just do it again. This guy takes a 2-die block and pushes Mr. X to here. Now he's here. And he takes another 2-die block, but this time he pushes him down here. It's just a really big way to string your blocks together in order to push them all the way to the side and then take a normal straight push to push them out and get that injury roll. All right, now let's see if we can't put it all together and push 3 people out in one turn using all the techniques we've learned so far. So I've got a scenario set up here, had a little cage, and somebody came in and blitzed from this direction here, busted that guy down and pushed him off to the side. Now they're next to my ball carrier. Yeah, we could come in and blitz him free and then block this guy free, but what if we can push all 3 of them out? First thing we're going to do is we're going to bring one of these guys that are over here over and get an assist. He's going to be here. That's going to give this guy an assist. So he will take the 2-die block here and push Mr. Red back. So let's go ahead and do that. So that pushes him to here. And you know what? He's going to follow, and we're going to show that now because it's going to get pretty complicated otherwise. So he moves to there. Okay, great. We've moved 2 guys so far. And I'll mark him here that we've moved him. All right, next the ball carrier wants to throw a block on this guy here. He's going to need an assist. So we're going to go ahead and bring this guy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 squares. A 6-square movement around to here. All right, and that's going to bring in some nice support to the ball carrier. So the ball carrier is then going to throw a 2-die block here, and now you can see all 3 of those squares right here are full. So he is able to push into here. Now this is a chain push. Now chain pushes is a whole other topic, and I'm going to make another video on that I'll link in the doobly-doo below. But basically, when you push into a person, then that person has to push as well. So because we're pushing into a guy and it's from a diagonal, he still only has squares, either the sideline or other people spots. He's going to get pushed out. So let's go ahead and reflect that. So Mr. Red down here, I can snag it. He gets pushed out this direction. All right, first guy pushed out. And then this guy here is going to come down into this area. Boom. And the ball carrier is going to follow for multiple reasons. It's a little bit cleaner. These 4 have all moved. We've pushed 1 guy out. We've still got this guy down here, which are a nice little pivot point. This guy for an assist if we need it. And our guy who's probably going to be our blitzer. So we're going to do that right now. Our blitzer guy, boom, he's going to come in here and he's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, hit on 5. And he will follow on this. So now because we have a nice little L here again, we've got this body down on the ground. This guy is going to go ahead and get pushed out, and we're in good shape there. So, boom, Mr. Red X goes there, and the blitzer, he is in fact going to come down and follow, because that makes it all good for this last guy here, who then, our nice little pivot point at the bottom, he gets to come at this guy and knock him out this direction here, because those are all full. Here, and Mr. Red X gets pushed out this direction. And you can follow if you want, or you don't have to follow. You may want to pull your guy down closer or something to protect your ball. This assumes it's the backfield, or that you come over here to start a screen for it. But that's a way to push 3 people out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, using only 6 people. Thanks so much for checking out Nuffle's Playbook, you guys. I hope that drawing out these tactics and stepping through step by step really shows you how you can get the most out of your games versus your opponents, and hopefully you're getting some more injuries out of it. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up just so I don't cry myself to sleep, and maybe leave a comment down below and let me know what you'd like me to talk about next, or something I could do better, or what you just liked in general. Anything really helps. I just like talking about Blood Bowl, to be honest. So also, big thanks to Limithron for making the awesome graphics on the channel, and to Boy King Idaho for supplying the music. Thanks a lot, guys. And also thank you to Ben from the Bonehead Podcast for his support and inspiration on making this channel. His podcast is awesome. If you haven't checked it out, please do so. It's amazing. All right, thanks so much. We'll see you next time on Nuffle's Playbook.